If you're newer to jiu-jitsu or you've been here a while and you struggle with defending the triangle choke, this one's for you. I had a couple people request this on my last video, so I figured why not throw this in the mix because it's really useful. The triangle is a really powerful choke. Who doesn't want to defend it, right? So with that, let's jump in. Before we jump into the defenses, obviously there's a couple things that you can do to make it harder for your opponent to triangle you. One of those things, maintaining good posture. If you stay upright, there's a good chance you could probably keep yourself out of range of a triangle. And if someone does lock a triangle up before they get a hold of your head, if you sit up in a way, it makes it almost impossible to finish. So that's one element. Now there's another element, as you can see in this example. When my partner does lock me up in a triangle, I frame my inside arm on his hip. And this is a really strong frame here. I am putting extra pressure and dropping a lot of my weight through my frame that's going across his hip, because the last thing I want him to do is to be able to elevate his hips, straighten his body out, and then push my arm all the way to the other side, which will help him finish the choke. Now, this isn't a be-all end-all, but it's a nice, safe spot where you can kind of catch your breath for a second. You feel him bridging to move that frame across his body. It's really important that you drive a lot of pressure through that arm, because if he is able to bridge his hips up and straighten out his body, move that arm across his body, the triangle's probably coming. So you want to focus a lot of weight into that frame while also actively looking for a way out. You don't want to stay there. This is just a pit stop on your way out of the triangle. With that being said, this first one I've noticed has been growing in popularity. I've been seeing it on social media, people showing this a bit more. I also know there's a couple high-level guys that will hit this. I've been using it for a while, but I will say, just like almost everything in jiu-jitsu, it's not foolproof. It's not guaranteed to work 100% of the time, but if you're locked up in a triangle, it could get you out, so it's worth a try. As you see here, my partner's got me locked up in the triangle. Now, my arm that's free is my left. You're gonna watch as I take my left arm and reach underneath his butt across to his hips, placing my knuckles on his other pocket. From here, I am then barrel rolling to that left shoulder, and I'm barrel rolling aggressively, okay? We're showing this in slow motion, but just know that this is an aggressive movement, and one of two things are gonna happen, potentially both things are gonna happen. His triangle lock, where the shoelaces section of his foot in his leg pit will come unhinged and allow me more room to escape. Secondly, because we are doing this aggressively, sometimes you can get some rotation inside of the triangle choke itself, where your body kind of corkscrews inside the lock. In doing so, in a way, this unlatches your shoulder so that you're not as stuck, and it's very easy to pop out the back and then attack from there. It truly isn't complex. It just takes the proper arm positioning and explosive rotation towards the correct direction. And then as soon as you feel any kind of an opening, that is your opportunity to pull out and effectively take a dominant position. Now, if this doesn't work, you're gonna be in the same situation that you were already in originally, and we can go ahead and try another defense. And I just want to take a second to give my sponsor, X Martial, a shout out. On the mats, you've got seconds to react, and sometimes even less. You train for hours to move with precision. Your gear should keep up. X Martial makes high quality, high performance no-gi gear. The fit is clean and the material durable, breathable, and built for battle. One thing I can't stand about certain no-gi brands is how quickly the material falls apart and how quickly the designs wash away. Literally every single one of my rash guards that I own from X Martial has stood the test of time. I've been training jiu-jitsu for 9 years and I still have rash guards that look brand new. And since we're talking about the designs, they're original, they're unique, they help you look good. If you're gonna go compete and you don't feel you look your best, you think that's helping you in your performance, you wanna go out and feel good about the person that you've built. And no-gi attire definitely helps with that. So if you want to look as good as me and probably even better, get over to xmartial.com and grab yourself some gear. I know you'd be happy you did. Look good, feel sharp, roll hard. Let's get back to the video. Which is a nice segue into number 2 that I like to call the stack and twist. So as you can see, my partner's got me locked up in the triangle. Again, I'm utilizing my free arm here, okay? My inside arm that's stuck inside the triangle frames, and then I begin to lift his hips off the ground by driving into him, basically stacking him onto his shoulders. Now, the higher up you can get his hips, the better, because the more uncomfortable this will be on his neck. Now, for full transparency, my training partner here is recovering from a neck injury, so I wasn't trying to full send this one just out of respect for him and his neck. But just know, the higher you get those hips, the more brutal this is going to be. So as I drive his hips up and forward, I also reach across with that arm that's on the outside of the triangle lock. So in this case, my left arm. I reach all the way across to his opposite side trap, and I begin to rotate to the left towards that free arm that's grabbing. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm pulling on that trap. I'm not just placing my hand there. I am pulling him into me so that his body doesn't continue to twist away from me as I rotate towards him. I want to stabilize his upper body while I rotate my lower body towards his head. This becomes very difficult for him to hold on to. And as you can see here, the lock pops open, either because he's having a hard time holding onto it, or because you stack him so aggressively, it just doesn't make sense for him to hold onto it anymore because it becomes hard to breathe. It's painful. My recommendation is to full send the stacking portion as long as your partner isn't injured. Obviously, talk to your partner first before trying this. But if you don't stack enough, there is a chance that they could set up an arm bar because your arm is out and available. By stacking him, it makes the armbar much more difficult. So something to remember as you practice this moving forward. Now, this last one was the first triangle defense that I'd ever learned. We called it the bulldozer. It's old faithful. I've used it a bunch of times. It is hard to resist. So as you can see, my partner is set up in the triangle. I do frame that inside arm against his hip. Now from here, I'm going to reach with both of my hands and grab that top knee. I'm then going to drive that knee to the ground. And then, like a football player doing a chop block, I'm going to drive through his shin. This makes it nearly impossible for him to maintain the lock. As I continue to drive forward, I will feel that lock pop open. Once I feel that pop, I'm ducking out the back and looking for back control, side control, knee on belly, whatever I can get. But effectively, I went from being stuck in a triangle to being in a dominant position. And even if you don't end up in a dominant position, you're still breaking out of the triangle, which leaves you in a much better place than where you were. And those are some of my 3 favorite triangle defenses. I did this because someone asked for it, right? So if you guys have other things you want to see, drop them in the comments. I'm more than happy to make content that helps you guys. That's the whole reason I started this channel, because I'll never forget how confused and lost I was as a white belt. So if you guys have other defenses that you like for the triangle, also drop that in the comments section, because we can all learn from each other. With that, you know how we like to end them. Sometimes backwards, always forwards. I'll see you in the next one.